622-1421.
Let me just say, first of all, that I almost resent, Vice President Bush, your patronizing attitude that you have to teach me about foreign policy.
Who am I? Why am I here?
Senator, you're no Jack Kennedy.
Oh, there are tough moments. Welcome back. Those were some unforgettable and awfully nasty moments from past vice presidential debates. And over the past 2 weeks, we've covered the hardball rules for how to win or lose a presidential debate. Well, tonight we have some new advice for the vice presidential candidates before tonight's face-to-face showdown. Here's what we've learned over the years. Number one, do no harm. Vice presidential candidates must protect the candidate at the top of the ticket. That means they need to avoid creating a sideshow that might distract from the campaign's message. Back in 1976, then-Senator Bob Dole famously ignored that advice when he blamed Democrats for the wars of the 20th century. Not only did he give his opponent, Walter Mondale, an opening to counterattack, Dole for his crass display of partisanship, it also put the campaign on the defensive for a couple of weeks. Let's watch.
It's not a very good issue any more than the war in Vietnam would be, or World War II, or World War I, or the war in Korea. All Democrat wars, all in this century. I figured up the other day, if we added up the killed and wounded in Democrat wars in this century, it'd be about 1.6 million Americans, enough to fill the city of Detroit.
Does he really mean to suggest to the American people that there was a partisan difference over our involvement in the war to fight Nazi Germany?
Well, actually, Nazi Germany declared war on us after Pearl Harbor. So let's get that straight, little fact. Anyway, it's clearly that Mondale had an easy opening there.
Yeah, he did.
Dole gave it to him.
And look, when you screw up that bad and the other person is waiting, it's kind of like when Sarah Palin in 2008, can I call you Joe, so she could set up what she was going to say
We'll get to that one. We got that.
But, you know, overall, you've got to make sure that your goal is promoting your main candidate and not becoming the story. You're the sideshow. You're the undercard. You're not the main event.
Yeah, and don't blame World War II on the Democrats, since we were fighting Hitler anyway, and the Empire of Japan after they attacked us.
Yes.
Okay, anyway, debate rule number 2. Be disarming with your opponent, as you were suggesting. Showing a little civility can make your arguments more persuasive, especially since vice presidential candidates aren't as well known as the person at the top of the ticket. You're introducing yourself on a night like this. In 2008, Sarah Palin famously asked permission to use Joe Biden's first name and later showcased that brand of folksy charm throughout the debate. Here she is, Sarah Palin.
Nice to meet you. Hey, can I call you Joe? Okay, good. Thank you. Say it ain't so, Joe. There you go again, pointing backwards again, though. You prefaced your whole comment with the Bush administration. Now, doggone it, let's look ahead and tell Americans what we have to plan to do for them in the future.
Well, and Al Gore was similarly disarming with his opponent, Jack Kemp, at the start of the '96 VP debate. Let's look at that.
I'd like to start by offering you a deal, Jack. If you won't use any football stories, I won't tell any of my warm and humorous stories about chlorofluorocarbon abatement.
It's a deal. I can't even pronounce it.
Well, that was a bit set up. Anyway, Megan, talk about naturals.
Yeah, that seemed, I think, funnier at the time than it does now.
It's an attempt by his staff to try to look warmer.
This is tricky for Governor Pence, because one of his big missions tonight is going to be make good on some of the own goals that Trump left on the table. He didn't hit out at the server. He didn't hit out at Benghazi. He didn't hit out on a lot of things that Hillary is vulnerable on. So one of his big themes tonight is going to be hitting on go tough. So to be disarming and going tough at the time, it's not as easy. He's got a big challenge tonight.
How does Pence both thread that needle? Be tough, because he's got to carry the fight.
I think he's got to be aggressive, right? I mean, the only way out. He's going to be asked so many times by Kane to try to square the places where he's in opposition to Donald Trump, to try to answer for Donald Trump's mistakes. Pence is going to be trying to do the quick pivot out of everything and go on offense, attack Clinton.
I think he's smart enough to do it.
And attack Clinton.
But you're right, he has to fight on many fronts. Anyway, debate rule number 3, don't get personal. And here, in an attempt to exploit then Vice President Dick Cheney's differences with President Bush on the issue of gay rights, John Edwards decided to invoke the sexual orientation of Cheney's daughter. Lynn Cheney later called it a cheap shot. Here's the exchange for that VP debate.
Let me say first that I think the Vice President and his wife love their daughter. I think they love her very much. And you can't have anything but respect for the fact that they're willing to talk about the fact that they have a gay daughter, the fact that they embrace her. It's a wonderful thing.
Mr. Vice President, you have 90 seconds.
Well, Gwen, let me simply thank the senator for the kind words he said about my family and our daughter. I appreciate that very much.
You're welcome.
That's it.
That's it.
Well, how do you read Cheney? That's the first time in my life, and maybe the last that I saw on Cheney's side.
That was when Cheney first got the idea for waterboarding.
Yeah.
Right there.
Right there,
that split
moment.
screen.
Immediately thought, I'm going to waterboard John Edwards.
Jason, that split screen told you everything.
Yeah, it was a Belichick, like, we're on to the next question. You know, he was like, keep my daughter's name out of your mouth. And you don't need to go there. You know, John Edwards had plenty of things to criticize Bush about. Personal life, totally should have been off.
I wonder who in the staff said, great idea, go for the daughter. Anyway, rule number 4, praise him before you hit him. This example comes from a presidential debate. Running for re-election in 1996, President Bill Clinton knew any attacks on Bob Dole's age could backfire. So he adeptly took the issue of it off the table before going for the jugular. Here is Clinton. You might say it his best, but you might say nastiest, too. Here he goes.
I can only tell you that I don't think Senator Dole is too old to be president. It's the age of his ideas that I question. You're almost not old enough to remember this, but we've tried this before, promising people an election year tax cut that's not paid for.
Well, that was very Nixonian, Megan, because she got the shot in about his age and then say, well, I don't really mean to do that, but I'm going after his ideas, as Dole gave the scour.
I think this is a real winning tactic for Governor Pence tonight, particularly. These guys have sharp, sharp policy contrasts. And if we want to keep this debate away from the personal and focus on
how do you
things
put the
like
sugar into that mix?
I mean, that's going to be the...
Stick it to the guy for being an altar cop, and then you say, well, I didn't really do it.
The problem is both these guys believe in what they're doing. I mean, Tim Kaine's a really likable guy. It's hard to stick them on lots of things.
Yeah,
it's going to be a policy debate.
I don't think it looked that nice. Your thoughts, John? Can you be that sugary and get away with it?
No.
Okay, thank you. The roundtable's staying with us, and up next, these three will tell me something I don't know. Be right back.